He wrote 6 before he got to Rome while he was going to the Jew first, and then he wrote 7 after. But in Acts chapter 28, y'all look, Paul gets there. Verse 28, the Jews in Rome, some of them believe, the rest believe not. In Acts 28:28 he says, "Be it known therefore unto you that the salvation of God is sent unto the Gentiles, and they will hear it." When he had said these words, the Jews departed, had great reason among themselves. Now verse 30. "And Paul dwelt 2 whole years in his own hired house, and received all that came in unto him." Now, when I say after Acts, really, I shouldn't say that, because this verse, during that 2 years, he did write 3 books. But I got the order of the books he wrote, how it looks. I don't think anybody could really be dogmatic about it, and I don't think you could, there's certainly nothing to argue about, but it's definitely important to understand that there was an order to what he's writing, and there is some differences in there, and there is revelation that came to him as he's writing. Now, it's my opinion that Galatians is written first. I would probably differ with a lot of people where I can see where it looks like Galatians matches Acts 15. Personally, I believe when you really study it, you find out that it's not exactly talking about that. I think it's written talking about an earlier visit. But anyway, it looks to me like the book of Galatians was written first of all Paul's writings from Antioch. Okay? He makes his first journey. Paul gets saved on the road to Damascus. Why is all this important? When Paul writes this book, is he going to the Jew first? He sure is. Then do I find things in here? Number one, Old Testament quotes, tons of them? Yes. Do I find mentions of things in here that are highly Jewish? All these different Jewish things and customs and the law, it's in the forefront in the book of Galatians, isn't it? Alright? When Paul writes 1 Thessalonians, is he going to the Jew first? Do I find Old Testament quotes? Do I find Jewish mention and all those kind of things in there? I do. How about 2 Thessalonians? Yes. How about 1 Corinthians? Absolutely. How about 2 Corinthians? Yes. How about Romans? Okay. Paul gets locked up in Rome, and during that last 2 years, is he still going to the Jew first? No. Y'all go to Acts 28. What do I find in the 6 letters that I don't find in the 7 letters? I find signs, don't I? How about ordinances? Yeah, ordinances are mentioned, aren't they? What else? The Old Testament's quoted over and over and over, isn't it? How about over here, do I find Paul collecting money for the Jews? Do you and I do that? Okay. How about over here, do I find Paul reporting back to Jerusalem 5 times in the book of Acts? Do I find him going there after the book of Acts? No. So, y'all beginning to see what the issue is here? In the book of Acts, the nation Israel as a nation has 1 more year in Acts chapter 1 through 8 there. They get 1 more year as a nation to accept the kingdom, and they don't accept it, do they? As a nation, they had blasphemed the Father. As a nation, they had blasphemed the Son. And as a nation, they blasphemed the Holy Ghost. And it's cut off, isn't it? Then, God calls Paul. Paul goes out and begins preaching a message. And is his message a national message about a kingdom on earth? Oh, it's a totally different new message, isn't it? As Paul goes out and begins preaching his message, the first thing we find out about Paul's message is it's completely different than the message that came before it, isn't it? Now, did Paul, when he goes out and starts preaching, as we look at these 6 letters, when Paul first starts in Acts chapter 9, individually, does a Jewish individual still have something being done for him by God that's special? Yeah, God is still performing signs for his benefit, isn't he? Paul goes city by city, and where's he stop in each place first? Synagogues. Do we find him doing that? After. See, the reason this is important is because when people say Paul wrote all 7 books in Acts 28 and they're finished, you miss the point that Paul got out of jail. Paul did get out of jail, and Paul went on a complete another journey. And do you hear anything about the Jew first or miracles on that journey? No, you hear Paul couldn't heal. Paul couldn't do certain things. None of that matters anymore, does it? What does he tell the Colossians? No ordinances. But he wrote to the Corinthians to keep the ordinances as he delivered them unto them. Y'all just always remember, these letters are written, stretched out over time, and when you read them, you can find out, hey, wait a minute, when did he write this and what's he doing? Because you'll see there's revelation throughout all these letters.
How much time was it, roughly?
Let's see. Probably approximately 33 years.